All right, good morning. It is 8:01 on Tuesday, January 17th. This is our video hearings with Score Jail this morning. Mr. Guilfoyle, is this Mr. Gunter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your co-counsel, Ms. Weiss, was supposed to put a motion into O-Court, and that has not happened. So does anybody know what particulars you're supposed to put in that motion?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Ms. Weiss this morning. The delay in filing the motion was that the treatment agency gave her a window for when they would be picking up Mr. Gunter to take him to treatment, and she wasn't sure how to word that in the motion. So she would have been filing it today based on my conversation with her. However, when I spoke to my client, Mr. Gunter, about what was happening, he indicated that at this point, being near the end of the sentence that was imposed, he declines the opportunity to be transported to inpatient treatment, but does understand and is willing to do outpatient treatment as recommended by his assessment.
I don't think
so. In
that's
other
what the
words,
assessment recommends, though.
Well, he could do intensive outpatient in lieu of inpatient. Generally, an agency would allow that.
All right, well, I haven't seen that. The only recommendation I saw from Mr. Gunter was a 3.5 residential placement. Right, so Mr. Gunter, you understand that I think SCORE has you scheduled to be held until February 2nd. However, we could release you to this facility as early as Thursday of this week, which would get you out of SCORE a couple weeks sooner. You understand that?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Stay in SCORE till February 2nd?
Yes.
Okay, we'll have to wait. I don't actually have the evaluation, so I'll have to wait till Ms. Weiss gets here. All right, so hang on. Well, I guess there is an order on motion that comes up.
Your Honor, I put that in there, but it wasn't my motion, so there's nothing in it.
Right, so what I'm going to do, since there is actually at this point, I guess, no motion. Let me see. I don't know if we already have a court date set up for you. So we're talking about case numbers 2A 119-259, 2A 496020, and 21 and 22, and then finally 2A 598464. All right, so Mr. Gunter, I'm going to set a hearing out of custody on March 8th at 2 o'clock just to follow this transition from SCORE to treatment. So that's all this court order is going to really say is it's going to give you a court date to come back so we can find out what follow-up happened after February 2nd. Do you have any questions about that, Mr. Gunter?
No,
Okay. We'll make sure you have this when you're released from SCORE so you know when to be back here, and get a hold of Ms. Weiss so that we can help with that transition. All right, thank you. Good morning. May I have your name?
Good morning, Leanne Elder, ELDER.
All right, Ms. Elder, your case number here in Fife is 3A103761. There's allegations made here in the city of Fife that are dated January 14th. And for today's purposes, I've established probable cause to proceed. So Mr. Guilfoyle.
Your Honor, I've spoken to Ms. Elder and gone over her basic rights and the process here and what her options are. And at this point, she's entering a plea of not guilty, and she's asking to be released on her promise to come back to court.
All right, Ms. Elder, I'll accept and enter your not guilty response to the allegations made. Now I need to establish some conditions of release and schedule a pretrial hearing. The prosecutor will be here at the pretrial hearing. You may choose to represent yourself. You may wish to hire an attorney. If you want to apply to see if you're eligible for the continued services of Mr. Guilfoyle, we'll get that application to you. The pretrial hearing will be in person as opposed to a Zoom meeting with the jail. So do you have any questions about that?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Does the city have a request?
Your Honor, standard conditions.
Mr. Guilfoyle?
We have no objection to standard conditions, Your Honor.
Can you tell me what that means?
I'll go over that with you in a second.
And Your Honor, sorry to interrupt. Ms. Elder is working. She's had the same job now for about 2 decades or more. And so she will follow all conditions.
Okay, great. And do you live at the address in Shoreline?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll release you from custody, and then these are what are considered to be standard conditions. You need to maintain law-abiding behavior, only drive with a valid license and proof of insurance. Do not operate a motor vehicle if a test of your breath or blood within 4 hours of driving would result in a positive reading for alcohol or drugs. Do not refuse to submit to a test of your breath or blood if a police officer believes you're under the influence and asks you to perform that type of a test. No alcohol-related violations, no moving traffic violations. The city's asked that you not use or possess alcohol, non-prescription drugs, cannabis, or drug paraphernalia while this matter is pending. You can apply for the services of the public defender if you so choose. You'll need to update the court with any address change within 5 days. Your out of custody hearing will be February 21st at 9:30 in the morning back in Fife. We're going to send a court order to SCORE. It has the address to the court, the phone number, and your case number. That will be the only notice you'll receive of that date to appear in court.
Is that the number, the case number that you gave me earlier? I wasn't able to write it down.
Yeah, it starts with 3A. Yes, it'll be on the document that we send to the jail. Do you have any other questions?
Yes. So it sounds like when I get released from here, I will be able to go and get my car out of impound and drive it. Did I understand that correctly?
As long as you have a valid license, yes.
I do.
There should be nothing that keeps you from getting your vehicle.
Okay,
Ms. Elder, there will be impound fees that you
that's
will have
fine.
to. Okay.
I expected that.
Yeah,
And-
take your license and proof of insurance, and then you should be able to get the vehicle out of impound, which is probably here in Fife at Fife Recovery.
And I assume anything else that you went over today that I didn't hear clearly will be on some paperwork that they'll either give me today or that they'll send to me?
Yes, everything should be on the form that the jail will print off and give to you before you leave.
Okay, I'm
And
sorry.
when-
This is all just very new to me.
No, that's understandable. And if there are any questions, you're going to be right next door when you come to get your car. You can stop in and ask any other questions. You can pick up the application for the public defender, whatever else you might need. We're not too far from the impound yard.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That leaves us with 3A 103760 and 1A 375684. Deborah Fenene. Ms. Is it Fenene? Is that correct? Your mailing address?
Judge Kevin,
Can I have your mailing address?
2440 62nd Avenue, Harmon C is in Charlie, 5 Washington, 98424.
All right, so we have this case from April of 2021. We issued a warrant for your arrest when you failed to appear on October 18th of last year. And then there are new charges from January 14th that I have established probable cause to proceed. You still have your warrant in Pierce County Superior Court. So let's deal with the arraignment, I guess, at this point, Mr. Guilfoyle.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Fenene will be entering a plea of not guilty on the false statement charge. She's asking to be released on her personal recognizance. And I have more information for the court when we reach that point.
All right. So as you know, Ms. Fenene, on the new charge, we'll accept and enter your not guilty response. We will go ahead and now we have to establish conditions of release and schedule the next court date. I have to consider the fact that you didn't come back to court when we asked you to.
I have papers for you, Judge Kevin.
Go ahead.
I have papers from I have a doctor's note. I was hospitalized for 2.5 weeks. Remember, I was booked here at SCORE, and when I got out, I got really sick.
Okay. Any particular reason why you didn't notify us of that?
I tried to call the 5 municipal court, but because of the holiday schedules and stuff like that, it really messed up you guys' schedule. I even came down there. I don't know if the security or police officer that works the front. I came down to your court, Judge.
All right. Well, we released you from custody on August 30th. In September, when you didn't show up, you came down to the court and we gave you verbal notice of a hearing on September 20th. And then that got reset to October 18th when you didn't show up in September 20th. So, I mean, that's 2.5. That's all of September and half of October. So that's longer than the 2 weeks you mentioned. In any event, I have to establish conditions of release now and schedule the next court date. We have that pre-trial hearing for the other case. I want to look and see what's happened in the felony matter. While I'm doing that, I'll ask the city for any recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. The city is asking on the new case, the false statement, $5,000 cash or bond. In addition, the city is asking the court to keep bail as set on the assault 4 DV case at $5,000 cash or bond. When Ms. Fanine was arrested in this case, there are allegations that she lied about her identity. She also allegedly had in her possession several identifications, credit cards, Social Security cards, and checks not belonging to her. She had drug paraphernalia also in her possession. She has still the outstanding warrant out of Pierce County Superior Court for taking a motor vehicle and possession of stolen vehicle. Based on that, all of that, and the fact that she posted $5,000 bail previously and it did not assure her presence for court, bail is appropriate.
All right, thank you. Mr. Guilfoyle?
Your Honor, Ms. Fanene wanted the court to know that she currently could not afford to post bail in the amount the city is requesting. She is working full-time for Delta Airlines as a cargo handler. She's scheduled to work today. And so she's worried that if she continues to be held, she'll lose that job. So she's asking the court to give her one more opportunity to come back on her own.
Well, Ms. Vanena, even with the bond, I'll note that you failed to appear for court on 2 different occasions. You didn't contact the court after the first date, even though we advised you of a new date to come back. Now you have new charges in the city of Fife, and you still have that warrant in Superior Court. So,
Judge, can I ask you something?
you may.
That first charge, it was against Ryan LeFau, correct?
Correct.
I'm still living with him.
I know we only asked you to have no hostile contact with him.
He tried to come down to court to dismiss that, but it's still.
Right. He can come down and tell the prosecutor what his desires are, but that doesn't necessarily mean the case will get dismissed. That's up to the city at this point.
Yeah, I never did anything like that.
All right. Well, I mean, he still has that opportunity to come in and do that. And then we have these other charges. Let me see here. Right, so total bail is back to $5,000 cash or bond, $2,500 on each case. If for any reason you're still in custody next Tuesday, the 24th, we'll schedule an in-person pretrial hearing at 11 o'clock. All other conditions, including no hostile contact with Mr. DeFeo, are the same. Clear your Superior Court warrant, maintain law-abiding behavior. Any other questions?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I don't know if I had included it on the order. Ms. Fanine was contacted because according to Motel 6 at 5201 20th Street East, she was an unwanted. She kept showing up there. So I don't know if that I had included that in the no contact, and I would ask that you include that.
All right, so until we get this figured out, there's don't go up on the property of the Motel 6 in Fife.
Okay.
All right, you'll get this document from the corrections officer, and then we'll take it from there. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I believe that concludes the video session, so we'll take a recess and get everybody else in the main room for our out of custody session.